Great. I think we promised each other that we're not going to follow the script. And we're not going to follow the script, right?
Completely unscripted.
Completely
Just like Bigg
unscripted and questions from all around. But I'll eventually ask something which is I've not told you, which is what makes me the moderator. So, I mean, yeah, let's have some fun. But before that, I mean, how's it been, Sonam? How has the festive season been, apart from the very evident disappointment on Sunday? Let's not discuss that at all, as if it never happened. But how has it been as a marketer, has it been as a consumer, and how has it been as an avid watcher of seeing media landscape change drastically over the years?
Okay, other than the fact that there are heated emotions in this room, who said it was a disappointment? It has worked fairly well in terms of viewership. It has worked fairly well in terms of visibility. I think as a marketer, that is what sells. And therefore, everything is great and it's awesome and it's just the way it was supposed to happen. Bearing the fact that the results were something that could have gone into a different direction. But I think this festive season was really good in terms of markets, in terms of the expectations that were there. Because after a long time post-COVID, we have realized that, not just the work-life balance, but we have to spend time with our family. And I think traditions, spending that little extra that we do in the entire year during Diwali, I think those are the sentiments that we all as Indians resonate with. So even as marketeers, we have to first think that we are people first, we are Indians first, and that is what traditions, festivals, family brings us together.
I think very interesting, and I was talking about it earlier as well. I think we come from an era, most of us, we used to watch television together, right? We used to grow up and Sundays used to be a thing. And then came the whole era of Blackberries, and then it used to be cool. And then came the smartphones, where smartphones suddenly became our mini home, mini theater, and then each person in our household was having his own screen, and then they're not talking to each other, and then we were suddenly hit by this phenomena called COVID. And we were all locked in our houses, we had nothing to do, we were all on our screens, mobile became like a cliche. Everything that you saw on television was repeat or pessimistic, so you didn't want to watch it. And I think that gave birth to connected TV and the growth which played catalyst to connected TV, because somebody realized, hey man, this is great content, hey, can you watch it on TV? Yeah, you can just like put it the Wi-Fi and you can. And I think India has the cheapest data rates. It is one of the most penetrated country when it comes to internet usage. We have 800 million users. I mean, obviously, we're the second highest app downloading country in the world. Now that's a great statistic, but most people also need to tell that we are also one of the largest populations, so we got numbers on our side. But then again, if you look at the whole way connected TV as a phenomena has grown, it's phenomenal, right? I mean, everybody is discussing, so where did you watch it? Did you watch it on Star Sports, IPL, or did you watch it on like Hotstar? And it's become like a thing now, and there are genuine advertising campaigns going on. And I think CTV has caught everybody's attention, and I think over years of media management, I think you realize that it takes a lot. I mean, it's after 5 or 8 years, some new media item silos takes its space within that Excel sheet. There's outdoor, print, blah, blah, blah. Oh, connected TV, okay. How are you looking at this trend, Sonam? I think whether at Mahindra or just as a marketer at Kellanova, how are you guys perceiving this trend? Is it the one to stay, or is it one of those things which are probably going to be, okay, great, we're going to go back to TV again? How are you looking at it?
Nikhil, I'm so glad that you brought up this topic and just addressing few of the points that you mentioned. I think the fact that we have the highest population in the world is not a negative thing. In fact, that's a brilliantly positive thing, because just yesterday I got to know certain stats where the growth of 5G currently that has been stated by 2028, we are supposed to have about 700 million users of 5G. And that's going to be something that's going to be number one in the world. Something that we have already currently surpassed Europe. And these are some of the stats that make us number one just because we have the highest population in the world now. And these are things that are positive. These are some of the changes that have come into our behavior thanks to Corona, and completely revolutionary actually. And the thing is that these shifts are something that is now going to go uphill. The fact that connected TV has been growing year on year is a blatant fact showing that now people are migrating from linear TV. Not the fact that it is still one of the largest sources of reach, but connected TV now has no longer become a separate medium. In fact, if I may just put, linear TV the pros of linear TV, the pros of digital advertising. Combine that together, and that's what connected TV is. Now, this is basically the benefits of having a linear TV and mobile advertising taken together. So if I have the pros of both these mediums together, I should not be looking at it as another line item into my media plan. I think that's a mistake if a marketer is doing that. Because CTV should be looked as a complete medium in itself, and it should not be an incremental medium. I think today, when consumers look at content, it does not matter to them where they look at it. Content is content end of the day. And that's what they should be looking at CTV as well. So instead of taking it as an incremental reach medium, I think the planning structure should be revised, and it should be a complete holistic view of content planning instead of just looking at it as CTV planning.
I think fair point. I think if you look at it with a show of hands, if I ask how many of you guys have actually watched Squid Games, there are very few, but how many have watched Squid Games? Yeah, that's almost like 98%, right? You two haven't? Great, I can see you because there's so few of us. But, I mean, none of us are Korean, right? I mean, and then you're looking at everybody has watched Money Heist, none of us are Spanish. I mean, so I think content is obviously conquering genres. The accessibility of internet and that accessibility going beyond your mobile screen to your television is obviously accessible. India is a fairly well-penetrated company when it comes to internet, and then you have the accessibility of ordering a television. No television which is made now is non-smart, at least not to my knowledge. I don't know, remember the last time somebody had a box TV or ordered one. Look at these factors combining together, right? And I think when COVID did strike us, we were looking for content, we were looking for some positivity, we were looking for new things. And these are things which suddenly came to the forefront. Everybody had choice because Kapil Sharma was boring probably, or watching the same news was pessimistic. And I think it became so exciting for people to watch. But I think what's also important, and you know, you and me were laughing about it, that I don't know who said connected TV is, like somebody was bringing up in the last panel that connected TV, we are calling it connected because somebody is calling it connected because it's technically it's TV. For most people it's TV, they just don't know how to measure it because they still have probably a box which they have not paid for, like for 2 years it's lying there, they think it works from there, but you're actually switching through applications on the connected TV. But I think just the connected TV part itself in isolation, right? It would have been much bigger if it was just addressed as TV. And I think when you talked about incremental reach, I think that's a question you get very often when you come into digital conversations, right? Hey, what incremental reach do I get over this? And you said, who made that the benchmark of reach in India, man? I think, do you think the guy sitting in Kharad or Unnao is watching his favorite content on YouTube and you want to get to Bharat? To each his own, everybody has their own statistic. How are you looking that connected TVP is growing to really the India part of it, right? If you look at it, at least I believe that it's small, but it really packs a punch. If you look at the sheer growth in connected TV numbers, I mean, where there is money, there is fraud, there is penetration, everybody has a solution now suddenly. There is an OEM play, there is an OTT play, there is a programmatic play. How do you look at this ecosystem evolving?
I'm happy that you brought out the term that, you know, CTV is something that we as marketeers talk about it because for us it's a different way of measuring. But when you go and talk to somebody probably out on the streets or just your own homes for that matter, ask them what CTV is or are they viewing on CTV, they'll probably go blank thinking, what is it that you're trying to refer? For them, it's a television. For them, television is television content. For that matter, I think we were just discussing about how viewership has changed. And from the perspective of Kellanova, kids are one of the most important factors that we have to consume our products. For a kid, try talking to him what CTV is. For him, it does not matter. All he knows very well is how to switch on the television, probably log on through his mother's or father's, logins, and view content. That is exactly what today's India is. They know what they want to see, how they want to see, and where they want to see. I think that is going to show the future of connected TV, which is what we as marketeers now understand the depth of it, but this is what reality is.
Yeah, I think what used to be a sports car for some of us is called a car now.
Precisely.
What used to be called an electric car for some of us is called, hybrid. I think it's the terminology of how you look at it. And I think television, phenomenal consumer insight, right? We had a panel earlier and I actually pushed the organizers to get a very young actual user of a connected TV more than us on the panel. Now, technically, there is publishers, there are marketers, there is ad tech, and this guy is just in the middle. It's like, hey man, what do you think is the future of connected TV? And this guy is like, you know what? I think the future of connected TV is me not being able to like actually go to the remote and pick it up. And that's a great insight. He's saying, could I do change of channels and applications as hand gestures? And you're realizing for him, what you're calling connected TV is he's born with it. It's called TV. He has not gotten used to the whole switch channels, go to the next channel, come back to this channel. He doesn't know it. We know it. We thought there used to be Doordarshan and then came DD2 and then came Z5 and we was like, oh wow, this is so cool. But I think you're absolutely right. But why do you think measurability comes in? Because you did mention measurability. I think all advertising is done for the purpose of measurement, right? And I think whether it's connected TV or whether it's linear, I think there are various metrics in place. Where I find a gap, Sonam, to be really honest, and I think I've spent some years in marketing and now on ad tech, and what I realized is if you're measuring the impact of connected television the same way you're measuring the impact of linear, are we missing a leaf in the book? And if reach and impression served or viewability or completion rates is what defines success, then I don't think as a marketer when you go back in your board of directors meeting or in your top-to-top meetings, that's something that you even bring up, that hey, you had a great completion rate and XYZ campaign and hence it's a success. How do you look at that part of connected TV?
You're right. There is no board meeting that talks about completion rates or viewability rates or efficiencies for that matter. What they want to see is results. And if your results speak for yourself, I think then your media plan or your media campaign was a success. But yes, when it comes to measurements, I think when I made a point earlier that, CTV is probably the one of the only mediums, where it combines the pros of linear TV and digital advertising. And I think taking that into factor, we can see that thanks to CTV, the kind of measurements that we are able to bring in, the kind of audiences that we are able to bring in. For example, you would have never had certain brands which were not going to be present on linear TV coming on board just because it's CTV. Now they can, one factor is affordability, one factor is the kind of precision targeting that can be done, the kind of measurements that can be done, the different ad formats that can happen. All of these are bigger factors thanks to CTV. The kind of content that is being viewed. I think nobody in this room, probably goes home without switching on one of our content partners and checking in what is the new series that we want to watch. Any conversation starter today nowadays is going to be, what have you watched currently? Is there a new series that you want to talk about? These are some of the corridor conversations that happen, and it's not even enforced. These are actually coffee conversations that happen that start with not how the weather is, but what is the current series that you're watching. And I think this is the kind of evolution that comes to the market. And at this point of time, I cannot be relying too much on measurements or ROI because I know for a fact that this is how I'm going to build the top of my funnel. And this is where my brand needs to be present.
It's a fantastic point. Today we have over 46 OTTs in India, okay? 46. We did a research last year, and at the risk of being non-neutral, as a programmatic player, we are neutral and with no specific apps. On an average, CTV, close to 82% of CTV penetration has close to app ad requests from more than 4 applications. That just tells me there is zero loyalty, okay? So you say, I'm a CTV user, but I only watch Netflix. No, you don't. Maybe somebody at your home is watching something Amazon Prime. Somebody else is watching Hotstar. And then we further delve into it at a further, very early stage in 21, and we were talking, we were the category builders of connectivity. We were talking about it, and we realized, hey man, we were talking, this is a very Gen Z thing. This is for the educated, not for the masses. But like you rightly said, just because you don't call it connected TV doesn't mean you're not one. And then you further penetrated into the research. We realized that there are more than one person watching connected TV at home. Do you have cable connection? No, not at all. Your parents are watching it. Your grandparents are watching it because you've just taught them how to surf through applications and just gotten used to it. And that's just on it, right? And I think one of the most key factors that you talk about is measurement, right? And I think with connected TV, the advantages that it gives over linear is simple thing. Imagine, and you're talking about certain brands which were never there, and I've seen a lot of luxury brands advertising on connected television, right? We've suddenly seen luxury brands on television. connected TV specifically, because imagine putting an ad to a 55-inch plus screen in a posh locality, combining location with that. The most best proxy of a protocol is you want to target a luxury guy, you will get it. You target somebody in Lower Parel, certain locations, 55-inch plus screen, what are you expecting? That person be the kind of luxury segment you want him to be in. And I think CTV is able to bring those kind of technologies. Even for us at mediasmart, when we were talking connected TV, we also realized that just by showing an ad, it doesn't serve any purpose. You need to build that ad into a funnel. Can you show an ad to Sonam and ensure that ad is having some engagement on her mobile, because that tech can solve for you. Once you have understood your mobile ID and your mobile ecosystem, then obviously you are somebody that can be retargeted, remarketed and stuff like that. And I think today we have moved one step ahead when talking about multi-screen. Imagine for your brand as Kellanova, at the end of the day, you are on outdoor, you are on print, you are on TV, you are on mobile, but having a frequency cap of 3 or 4 across all these channels, are you creating ad fatigue for the same person? Because I am the same guy in the left who saw your ad, same guy who went up on my connected TV, saw your ad again, across 4 channels, 4 different publishers, 4 different times. And then obviously I saw it on mobile. So did I create ad fatigue or did I create ad favorability? And probably the future is getting that multi-screen approach. Why even connected TV? Just the connected devices within screens. And I think that focus is becoming so and so important. If you look at evolved markets like US, they don't look at formats. They say video is an asset. Which all screens can it go at a probable unified frequency? And how can we address that? And I think technologies are working towards that. Kellanova is very interesting, right? You have very diverse segments, from nutrition to kids to health and fitness. I'm sure you look at connected TV with a very keen eye, right? Because you just find the right audience mix there. Do you have any thoughts before I get to the last section, because we have a few minutes?
I'm so happy that you mentioned the portfolio of Kellanova. Let me add that even Pringles is a brand of Kellanova. So we've got the snacking category, we've got the kids category, we've got a health fitness category. So we've got brands from muesli to chocos to cornflakes to Pringles. And therefore, for me, CTV becomes extremely critical because I've got a varied range of audience, right from a 6-year-old to a 60-year-old. Now, how do I address this range of audience? And now considering the fact that we mentioned that even 60-year-olds are today well versed with internet. They know exactly how to maneuver through the content that they want to see. So if you have a 6-year-old that dominates the viewership in the house, how do you expect a 60-year-old not to dominate? And that's where it becomes critical for us to place and strategically place our ads, if I may put it in that way, to the right content, to the right audience, in the right places possible. Hence, any kind of campaign, whether it's a multi-screen campaign, whether it's got outdoor, print, everything, all mediums possible, if I do not have a CTV layering on it, that campaign will lose out a lot of audience. Because end of the day, that is the frequency that I want. That is the kind of audience that I want to see my brands. And hence, I would say that that's frequency, but not ad fatigue.
Great. I think we've got a minute, and I'll just move on to the last section, the one that I didn't tell you about, the one which I call out of syllabus, and I'm quite known for this, so I'm just going to do it. It's called the rapid fire round because you mentioned you getting a hamper, and the whole purpose of having this is...
that depends what's in the hamper.
Rahul? Yeah. So I think... So the purpose, you know the game. I mean, I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to put you on a spot, but not put you on a spot. But the objective is you just answer it as early as possible and not put too much thought about it. Nobody's recording, so it's fine. I know you had a big media.
Absolutely. Nobody's recording this
No pressure.
conversation.
Yeah. Okay. Question 1. If Kellanova could be the headline sponsor for any major global event excluding Cricket World Cup in India, what event would you choose?
So Kellanova becomes a breakfast cereal, and that's what we stand for. So anything that goes in the space of health, anything that goes in the space of mothers and children, that would be what we stand for. Currently, I would see it any kind of a sporting event that supports women is something that we would go for.
Any thoughts, like non-cricket, what do you think could be the next big thing which you would say Kellanova sponsoring?
Now you've put me into a spot. This is where I have to give a commitment.
You should just say the Olympics
This is
team.
where This is where you put me into
The
a spot.
the Indian Olympics team.
I will give you a genre. I would want the entries to come in.
Okay, great. Great answer. Well escaped. Okay, SpaceX launched the rocket Falcon yesterday. If you had the chance to launch one of the marketing trends into outer space forever, what would it be? Like threads, NFTs, metaverse?
Definitely metaverse.
Yeah, I think it's an outgoing trend.
Definitely metaverse.
Imagine if you had a rapid fire session yourself as Sonam, who would you like to have on that session? Sam Altman, Pat Cummins, Shah Rukh Khan?
Are these the only three choices I have?
Yeah, that's what the job they did, my marketing team. They're all three. Are you suggesting that we have Shah Rukh Khan here, right? We have Pat Cummins, the World Cup winner, and Sam Altman, like the guy who. I shouldn't say the guy who because I'm about to say it, but yeah.
So there are many people that I would love to have on panel. Probably currently I'll go with Shah Rukh Khan because definitely he's one who's going to be increasing my viewership, and that's how a marketer thinks.
Last question, without putting you on a spot again. Who would have imagined winning the World Cup except for India? I mean, Amul bet its logo on Australia. Where does Kellanova's logo would be if it was not for India? Just like a team that you like. It's just a way of putting the question. Just another team which you would have liked to win the World Cup. If you watch cricket, by the way, why am I even... Yeah.
I have to answer this on behalf of Kellanova or on behalf of Sonam?
As on behalf of Sonam, all questions
So
are
let me twist it in this way. Which match in India gives you the highest viewership?
Are you saying you would have put it on Pakistan? But yeah.
Why not?
Good
Why
answer,
not?
man. That's us, guys. Thank you so much. And if you have any questions for Sonam or me, you can catch us in the coffee area.